Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, and you are watching a What Would You Do video. I do 5 of these every week. 4 of them are exclusive to patrons at chrispirillo.com. Hopefully you're a patron. This one, however, is free for anybody to watch. So I do many exclusive videos that you may also enjoy if you become a patron. But I throw everybody else a bone and say, hey, we'll do one of these a week for everybody. So today's What Would You Do topic was asked by Patron Stefan. And Stefan asks, what would you do to expand your customer base? It's a good question. It's a tricky question, too. I have been in business for myself since 1996, and it's expanded and contracted over time, and hopefully we're in the process of expanding, not just contracting, because I'm tired of contracting. Although you never know, because one change that you don't necessarily have any kind of say in may force your hand, and you'd have to change your business, or your business model, your business strategy, how you approach the marketplace. And, whether you are someone who owns a business or you're just someone who just floats around and does things with other people's businesses, either way, the world of business impacts you. And for those of you who have, thought about starting up your own YouTube channels or setting up your own web services and trying to engage a community online, may also be interested in some of the things that I wanted to tackle with addressing this particular topic. I started with one idea. Seemingly eons ago, a lifetime ago, is what it feels like. And the business became my child. And I'm on the cusp of actually having a real child at some point in the near future, which may very well transform my business as well. So, in terms of expanding a customer base, sometimes you're lucky to have a customer, period. And I've been lucky enough to find people who are customers. And, for example, my current base of customers are the patrons. And right now, we're just over 800 patrons. They're my customers. Everybody else, well, you're a part of a community, but these are my customers because they're saying, Chris, I think you're worth something more than nothing. And that's great. And then you become a patron, and then you get all sorts of bonuses. So they're my customers. I have to pay attention to them. But the question is how am I going to get from 800 customers to 1,000? And that may not sound like a lot to you. It may sound like a lot to you. I don't know. So how am I going to do that? So I'm wrestling with the idea of approaching my, endeavor, this, whatever the hell it is that I do that other people seem to appreciate, that many people, at least 800 people, seem to appreciate on a monthly basis. How do I take that number and grow it? Well, first I have to recognize what it is that I'm doing that is of good value to those people. So every day I do a live video stream, at least one. Every day, I also do another live video stream. This is the second one, and as I said at the beginning of this video, 4 of those are unlisted for just the patrons, and this one is the one that's out, for public, or for anybody to watch. So, I identified what I thought, key word, or I guess key phrase, what I thought was my biggest value, and that seemingly has changed over time. I thought my value was at one point, just being a vector for awesome things. And that wasn't the case. Vector, discovery vehicle for awesome things. I still am a discovery vehicle for awesome things, or at least I'd like to believe so. But I think more than anything, what I've refined my value to be, or what I believe it is the intelligence that I have inside my head. This is what a lot of people want. They want to know from me directly. They say, Chris, what gadget should I buy? Chris, what do you think about X? Chris, what do you think about Y? Chris, do you think this? Chris, do you think that? That's my value. So to the customers who value my intelligence, I want to give them more of my intelligence. Why would I bleed that out for anybody to take and siphon for free? I wouldn't, because that's my biggest value. So to expand my customer base, I have to effectively not just do what I do well, continue to do well, but also find other people who may also be interested in the things that I have to share, my insight, because that seems to be a big value, or at least valuable enough that people continue to ask me questions, because they don't just want to know the answer, because sometimes there is no the answer. They want to know my answer. So how do I find these new customers? I continue to answer questions every day. Right now, it's 5 questions a day are answered on chris.pirillo.com. People ask me all the time. I answer them in blog posts, not videos, blog posts. So potentially someone might stumble into those responses and say, wow, I really like Chris or how he answers this question. They may even stumble upon a video and say, gosh, I really like how Chris addresses this particular topic. I like his eye. I like his viewpoint. I like his personality. And they latch onto that. So I have to continue to put stuff out there in order to continue to grow the base. Now, I was even asked by, and I'm not going to give up his name, but another rather large producer of stuff, specifically video on YouTube, and he was wondering, well, how do I expand my base? Because it seems like my current community just doesn't care, or the things they say they care about, they don't actually care about. It doesn't come to any surprise to me. And because I've had the same problem, right? I had produced a lot of tech content for so long, tech-related stuff, it wasn't necessarily something that people wanted, but the moment I took it away, they wanted it back. I'm like, what? But when I had it there, you didn't pay attention to it. So do you want it? What do you want from me? And I will wrestle with that question forever. What do you want from me? And ultimately, I just found, within myself, like who I had to be in order to be a better you for you if you're a customer. And so I just get passionate about things and care about things and talk about things and share my thoughts and insights and just throw it all out there. And then for the customers, I give them even more. And so that was how I approached growing, or how I am approaching growing my customer base. Because I'd like to believe that I can, within time, and it may take a few years, but get all of the community who say they love the things that I do for them to move them to a point where they become customers. But that may take time. And we'll be able to grow from 800 patrons, which is awesome, to 1,000 patrons, hopefully within a few months' time. Even more awesome. I would love to have 1,000 patrons. It's going to take time to get there, because I don't just have to do what I do. I have to continue to find people who don't already have a preconceived notion of who I am or what it is that I do. I've got to expand that base of attention. So I try new things all the time. All the time. Probably to the frustration of a few people who've known me for years. So, for example, when I talk about Star Wars and get passionate about Star Wars, people who may not have known about me because of tech find out about me because of Star Wars. Or when I talk about Lego bricks, the way I talk about Lego bricks, people who had no idea that I existed within the tech realm suddenly become interested because they're also interested in Lego bricks. So it's expanding my community reach, expanding the people I connect to, and then eventually figuring out, well, where do they, or if they want to become customers. And if they want to become customers, what am I going to be able to do for them to want to become customers? I can't just say, I'm Chris Pirillo and you should be a patron. I got to actually create value. And that's what I do. I've been bleeding value for years, but figuring out how to translate that has been elusive because people change. The person you were a year ago may not be the same person you are today. Your interests change, your time changes, a lot of things change. So I had to ask myself, well, what is it going to take for me to create things the way I create them and keep people interested over a period of time, maybe even beyond their mutual interests? So, for example, today, you're interested in the latest gadget. A year from now, you may not be interested in technology at all. It can happen. I've seen it happen a million times over. Well, maybe not a million. That's a bit hyperbolic. I've seen it happen a few times. So then I had to think, well, what am I going to create that is this story, that's video, that, allows me to connect with other people and them to connect with me? Vlogs. Vlogs is my answer. That's why there's a vlog every day. There's no story to it. It's just life. It's just whatever happens here in my world. And the nice thing about that is that if you're interested in me, you're interested in just about every part of me. Maybe not everything about me, but my story. So is that building a customer base? I don't know if I'd say that vlogging has been great for building customers, but what it has done is it has deepened my connection with people who saw me as this personality, this person who did things out there, and it made my story more personal. Everything about me became more personal. And I think that depth of connection I've had by vlogging not only could carry through into the future. Now people who are watching the things that I do in the vlog because of my family, and as it grows, and I have a kid for the first time, and go through those changes, and then the kid changes lives and everything. So over time, the chances of someone no longer being interested in a vlog may disappear, because you get this this feeling of you've invested your time and your energy and your attention in this story. It's like a reality show of sorts, and you just don't want to let it go. The things that you enjoy, you don't want to let go of. You want more of the things that you love. You're willing to become a customer just to make sure those things don't go away. And so vlogging helped address a few of my needs. It hasn't addressed every one of the needs, certainly, but I think has been an interesting experiment to this point, and I plan on continuing to do it for years to come. Of course, I can plan on continuing to do this, and to even expand the team to be able to do more video stuff that I would love to do. It's just that I don't have the ability to do it as one individual with a couple people who work remotely for the team with LockerGnome.com. So, you've got to think about your biggest value. You have to double down on your value. You have to tell people, hey, if you want to be the customer, put your money where your mouth is. Otherwise, you're not a customer. You got to do that, because some people, they want what you have, but sometimes they're not willing to pay the price. Whether that's the price is sitting through an ad, whether it's doing what you need them to do in order for you to do the things that you do. Some people aren't willing to comply. At which point you have to say, well, they're not your customers. They're just not. If they don't want to support you in the way that you say that you need to be supported, they're not your customers. Those aren't, but you can't walk into a coffee shop and say, I want a coffee for free, unless they're giving it out for free. If they're saying, no, it costs $3 for a coffee, you're more than welcome not to pay for it, but the moment you pay for it, you're the customer. And that doesn't mean you're always right. It just means that you're willing to give something that you have to receive something in return. You're making that exchange. Goods, services, whatever it happens to be. So you got to keep that in mind. Not everybody out there is going to be your customer. You can't convert everybody. Just double down on the people who care about you most. Think about your biggest value to them, not to the world, to them. What is your biggest value? Focus and concentrate on that, and then figure out, well, what is it going to take for you to be happy? What is it going to take for you to be able to expand into other groups who have no idea who you are? You've got to put other things out there. You have to make new products. Hello? Lego, Star Wars. I talk about all sorts of geeky stuff that I still very much love, that people who may already be in an existing community may not care about. But the people over here do care about that geek lifestyle, the geeky, nerdy things that have zero to do with technology. Those are the communities I'm beginning to connect to, well beyond this base that has existed for years, that is just only single-mindedly about the latest gadget. I've never been that way, ever in my entire life. I've never been that way. So I've expanded my reach to find new customers by creating new products, new services, new ideas, allowing people to tap into me and my time in different ways. So I think this is a most comprehensive way that I can answer the question that was asked of me today, the what would you do question. I do four more of them every week. It's a lot of talking, 15 minutes straight almost. So thank you if you are a customer of mine. If you're not, no time like the present to start. Plenty of bonuses. And I hope to continue to grow that and expand it as my community continues to grow. And at some point, I even thought about doing, as I have a kid, maybe even doing a daddy show, like Daddy Nerds or something like. I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet. But I mean something that's daddy-centric. That's just daddy. That's just dad. Dad. Because Diana's going to be doing a mostly mommy show in her YouTube channel. I may be doing a daddy show, just like a weekly daddy thing. Even though nobody cares about watching daddies. It's all about watching mommies. I have the wrong demographic, I think, for that. So anyway, always try new things. Always engage your customers. Listen to what they have to say. Do what you can do to give value to your customers without killing yourself in the process, because then nobody wins. So yeah, thank you for asking the question, Stefan, and I really appreciate you being a patron. And I'd rather call you a patron as a supporter than just a customer. Customer just sounds so... Ugh. I love the words community. There's just a feel-good vibe around that word. Or patron. It's just a feel-good vibe. So, that's how I would do it. That's what I would do. What would you do?